I just wanted to keep watching that, huh? What's up? It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles live, sponsored by Fryette Amplification and New York Hardcore Comics. I hope everybody's well in these trying times, Armageddon all around us. And I hope that this show could bring a little relief to your world, a little break in the action here, you know? Let me say hi to everybody. Hi, Michelle. How you doing, Meredith? What's happening in my neighborhood? Hi, Giovanna. All girls. It's an all girl. Yo, Jack Grisham's on the show today. It's an all girls shout out show. What's happening, Stephanie? You know, hope everybody's well, man. These are some crazy times. Some crazy times. So let's keep it moving in these crazy times. I want to announce a couple shows. I don't know if everybody out there knows that I announced this one the other day. We got Danny Lilker coming up on June 10th. Danny Lilker, SOD, Nuclear Assault, Brutal Truth, and Anthrax. He's coming up. And, of course, this Friday is the boxing show. We're stoked on it. I'm stoked. You're stoked. We're stoked. This Friday is the boxing show with Craig Satari, Sick of It All, Sean Sullivan, DeBella Entertainment, Don Foos, the Spud Monsters, and backed by popular demand, Arnie Stone. So everybody has to tune in for the boxing show. I'm excited about that. Something a little bit different. Also, I want to, I'm going to wait. I have a new show to announce. I want to wait on that. But this Sunday, of course, is the Gallo Brothers. Put your shoes and socks on, kids. It's right around the corner. This Sunday, Stephen Mike Gallo coming on. That's going to be a hoot. That should be a lot of fun. So that's what's happening. In the meantime, let's do photo of the day. Let's bring on Steven Messina. Photo of the day. What's happening, bro? How you doing?
Live
You're in the stock room? You in the schlock room? Wow. This should be interesting. Can you hear me?
Yes, I am.
All right. Listen, whether you can hear me or not, we're doing photo of the day. Here we go.
Oh, I always hope when I do this, close the gate.
Mm-hmm.
That locks the door on the outside while I'm in here.
You're coming in clips, so my suggestion would be to sign off and sign back on. In the meantime, we're going to do photo of the day without you. Life is fucked up like that. Life's fucked up and then you die, right? So here we go. Anybody have any idea what this could be? Let's see what he sent me for photo of the day. Let me see. Here we go. Photo of the day. Boom. All right. I think I have a good idea what this could be here. But let me hear you say, anybody got any suggestions out there? Let's rack it up. I know this band. I've seen this band a couple of times, even recently. So unless Steven comes back, we're going to wing it without him. So what do we got here? Could it be The Damned? The Damned love song? The Damned? The Damned? The Damned at CBGB MSG? You with us?
I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Is that The Damned?
That's better. Oh, yes.
Tell us about this
there
photo.
We go. All right. This is actually pretty historic, especially for The Damned. Is that this is Madison Square Garden, and this is last year, opening up for the Misfits. And this was Rancid, The Damned, and the Misfits at Madison Square Garden, which I believe we did the Misfits last week. And this was just huge.
All right, well,
seeing the Damned do it live at Madison Square Garden.
All right. I'm taking the initiative here. That was The Damned at Madison Square Garden, opening up for the Misfits. Obviously, a lot of us knew what it was. Al Baril, Springer's Droogs. Yeah, there you go. Good one, Al. But anyway, that was photo of the day. That was The Damned at MSG. Pretty cool that they opened up for the Misfits. I think that part of the logic here, I didn't ask him, but part of the logic was, since we have a TSOL vibe going today, maybe The Damned came up in his. Here you go, fitting photo for a show with Jack Grisham. There you go. Little Lou Zaretsky, what's up, guys? What's up, Lou? So there you go, photo of the day. Sorry, Steven, for a little Dominic, little technical issue there, but we'll keep moving. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by Friet Amplification and New York Hardcore Comics. Friet Amplification is a small company that makes guitar amps, attenuators, and direct recording products in North Hollywood, California. Their gear is used by the Deftones, Helmet, Candiria, Stone Temple Pilots, Powerflow, Antidote, Volbeat, Downset, and many other heavy bands. The brand new Deliverance 2 heads are now available at Friet.com. Come, get up, get down, Friet Amplification. Thank you for sponsoring us. Keeping it moving, let's bring Rat Bones on. Let's do Collectible of the Day. Here we go. What's up, Rat Bones? What's happening, bro?
What up?
What up, bro?
Chilling.
All right. Did they loot out your neighborhood yet?
Monday night, they pretty much did. Yeah, they smashed up a lot of windows and stuff. I think it goes beyond what's happening, But it is what it is. It's crazy shit right now.
In the meantime.
All right, so I got a collectible today. Let's see if anyone can guess what this is. it's changed from its original. Something was with that. This was my tour jacket when I toured with Murphy's Law in the States. And I had it in a closet in a binder. The jacket was just a patch. And I finally put it on a Dickie shirt. So there's that. I love that jacket. It's raining out in New York, so I pulled it out.
It's raining out in Florida too, bro.
I love showing this shirt off because like I still can't believe
you got some love for this nice Dark Side shirt.
Yeah, original Dark Side. I remember when this was like everyone had the shirt on at every show. There was an era there. So I gotta say I am so glad that I got to see this also. This is my bootleg shirt I bought outside of MSG. I think I paid $15 down from $20 for it. But yeah, that's that show. That was that picture.
I think buying the Misfits bootleg shit is way cooler than buying the Misfits shit at this point.
It just was, I had to have that. Yeah. I got it free, all of that. It was just a great day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to give you the toy today. I have a bunch of stuff scattered. I have so much on my head I want to share, but we're going to keep it edited, short. I'm going to do this toy today with a little bit of a joke and see if you guys can it. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Land shark.
All right.
Look, this is the He-Man Masters of the Universe little shark guy. One of the coolest toys, definitely, they put out. We got Trapjaw here and Hordak. So I wasn't going to do a toy today because I'm kind of getting a little, I got to really dig in my collection now. But I think this is a really cool piece. When you roll it on the floor, it opens up the trapjaw of the shark. So that's my piece of the day. Trapjaw and Hordak from Masters of the Universe.
All right.
And I'm very excited to hear what, the stories that this guy got. Like, he is like an icon, seeing the movies and the suburbia changed our life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So excited. I got a lot more stuff to show, but it's all over the place lately, so I'm going to dig in deeper. We'll show you guys some more cool stuff. It's been a great ride so far. I'm enjoying it with everybody, and thanks for having me on as always, guys.
We'll see you in a bit. We'll bring you back on with Jack towards the end. Be careful. There he is. Rat Bones, collectible of the day. The revolution continues. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by Fryette Amplification and New York Hardcore Comics. New York Hardcore Comics. Opened back in 2013 when lifelong friends Debo the Pro and Lee Fraley combined their collections and obsessions for comic books, punk rock, toys, statues, magic, the gathering, and all things horror. The store is located at 117 Main Street in Dobbs Ferry, New York. If you want to support them during this particular pandemic, please contact them at New York Hardcore Comics at gmail.com or any social media channel for an exclusive store package. $20 gets you one of each, exclusive shop t-shirt and sticker, Marvel Comics Venom #1, exclusive to New York Hardcore Comics. New York Hardcore Comics, they love us, we love them. Also, I want to run my Patreon banner. For those that may not know about it, check out my Patreon page. Patreon has a couple levels, a couple tiers. I'm releasing all kinds of never before seen photos and footage, outtakes from my films, the New York Hardcore Chronicles films, XXXO Ladies XX, the Boston Hardcore film, Who the Fuck Is That Guy, The Fabulous Journey of Michael Lago, and lots of footage that's never before been seen. We're also going out and doing Drew Stone's cinematic New York walking tour. That's going to be happening when they stop looting and rioting in the streets of New York. We're going to go out and I'm going to do a cinematic and music tour. So check out on Patreon. I think that's the $10 tier. Also, the New York Hardcore Chronicles 10 Questions starring you, directed by me. And so that's part of it. So check out Patreon, support this show. We have a good thing going on. It's keeping the community connected. So throw your hat in the ring. Let me see what else. That's it for now. That's it for now. And let me get this banner off because it is that time. What the fuck am I doing? Sort of in a haze. Purple haze all in my brain. All right. So here we go. We're going to bring on our guest here. Super stoked on this. I know a lot of you are as well. If you have some questions, hold off. We'll do questions in the second part of the show. Let me see if I'm covering all the bases here. I think I am. Let's just jump into it. So here we go. Today's guest is an American musician, author, and political activist from Southern California. He is the long-tenured vocalist for the band TSOL, True Sounds of Liberty, which emerged from the late 70s LA hardcore punk scene along with contemporaries Black Flag, Circle Jerks, and Bad Religion. He has fronted the bands Vicious Circle, The Joy Killer, Tender Fury, and Cathedral of Tears. As an author, he penned An American Demon, a memoir, as well as A Principle of Recovery, an unconventional journey through the 12 steps. Please welcome, coming at us from Huntington Beach, California, one of the all-time greats, Mr. Jack Grisham.
Hey.
How was that, buddy?
I think you could have given it a little bit more, Matt. A little bit more. All around good guy. Excellent.
Right. You know, all around thumper. How you
I'm
doing?
sorry that you guys have the rain out here because I'm sitting here and it's like 80 degrees. Just gorgeous.
I'm in Florida. I'm down in Florida. I've been down here for a while, but yeah, New York. It's raining here. It rains. This is the time of year it rains in Florida like once a day. You know?
Right.
So
yeah, this is not. It's nice. Yeah, it's good. But they're drilling an oil well in front of my house, so that's why I got this fan. It's like I don't always have like my hair being styled like this.
It's a nice look.
Yeah, but I'm blocked. I had to close all the windows and doors because they're drilling this fucking oil well in front of my house. So it's like, whatever. Anyway,
you know what it's kind of like? It's kind of like when you would see like those hair metal bands, and they have a fan, they have a fan in front of the stage, and the wind's blowing. So tell us what's the latest, man. Tell us what's going on.
Well, it was interesting because he was talking about that they had done the stores. I think this is the only town that I've heard of so far where the neighbors actually came out armed and said, "Hey, we support the protest, but you won't touch our stores."
That's
and
awesome.
It was pretty. But it was really. I'm telling you, for me, it was very difficult because I support small businesses and the community. And I'm active in the community. So you want to stand on the community side and protect the small business people in that. But then on the other hand, you want to stand on the other side, because of murder, basically. And it was very difficult position. I'm not going to stand hand in hand on the storefront side with people that I do not agree about their politics. So it was a real fucking, and if I say uncomfortable, so what? There's people in this country that have been uncomfortable for years. So, anyway, just.
And you told me who was out there with you from the neighborhood?
Oh, yeah, Chuck Liddell, all those guys. I live downtown Huntington, and this is an interesting little area anyway.
Uh-huh.
This is, California may be left, but this area is not. Where I live, it's a pretty hard little area right here. So,
and you've been in Huntington Beach a long time, right?
Yeah, I've lived downtown here for 30 years, downtown. So I used to live in Long Beach, and the minute I could get out of Long Beach, I got the hell out of Long Beach. I just left. It's like guys go, I love Long Beach. It's like, yeah, you weren't born there, So,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So when tell us a little bit about. So your dad was a military man, is that right?
30 years. My dad fought in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
Wow.
So in my family, I mean, I hate to sound like Forrest Gump, man, but in my family, there's been family member involved in every conflict America's ever been in. But what's interesting is my great grandfather was from the South, and he actually left and fought for the North. And it was pretty. There were a lot of those guys that split the South and fought for the North. They thought that they were traitors. They thought that they were traitors to the Union. Anyway, but yeah. So I grew up, saluting my dad. Jack Grisham reporting for inspection, sir.
Wow.
throwing a salute, and it's pretty gnarly.
And how did music come into your life? I saw a little bit that your older sister, is that right?
Yeah, well, that's what she got me into. So my older sister is 12 years older than me.
Wow.
Okay, so that puts her. So you look at punk rock, when punk rock really started going, right? That was when I was. So then my oldest sister, she was a hippie in the time of the Summer of Love and all that shit. So my older sister was a hippie as I was a punk. So she got me into, I'd listen to her records, the Mothers of Invention, We're Only in It for the Money, the Stones, all the protest stuff, reading protest. It was when I was, so you figure 67, 68, when those riots were going on, I was reading handbooks of what to do in a riot. When I was 7 or 8 years old, they'd say, stay in the middle of the crowd and throw bottles. It's like, this is what I'm learning. I'm listening, I'm reading Eldridge Cleaver and King and Malcolm and, all these dudes, because my sister was an activist. So your sister was keyed into the underground, and I also saw that you also got exposed to like Fritz the Cat and Zap Comics and the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers and that whole sort of underground current. Yeah, and if you think about that, like those were my comic books when I was a little kid. Some cat fucking other cats and beating them with bottles over the head. It's like, it's not Superman. I'm talking about Superman wasn't up to that kind of shit. So that's what I was listening to and watching. And how can it not warp you? It's funny. I took this ACE childhood trauma test yesterday. It's like I scored 8 out of 10. It was just like I read it, it's just like, oh, okay, well, whatever. Yeah,
I love the Zappa. Listen, Zappa is a great hero of mine. Just as far as his, he was a fearless artist and a real protector of the amendments. And I love that Zappa comes up in your story like that.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty fun. Speaking of that, I want to maybe we can talk about this PMRC thing that you remember that when that went down.
Of course, Tipper Gore and that whole thing. It was bizarre.
But what made me so pissed about it is that when these musicians would get up there and they were fighting it, saying not to do it, like, oh, my lyrics don't mean this. And I thought, you bitch, man, what are you talking about? Your lyrics don't mean that. I hope my lyrics inflame people. I want you to read it and say, this is dangerous. We don't want this guy next to our kids. We don't want our kids reading this. And for someone, especially a musician, to stand up and say that words mean nothing. You look at the Constitution. Look at the Bible. God, man. Gandhi ran the Brits out of India, after reading Tolstoy's The Kingdom of God. It's like, come on, man. Words are inflammatory. They should be. Great. Put a warning label on it. Thank you, Tipper.
Well, it was funny because I was at that time, I was doing music videos and all that. And for some bands, having that, plastered on their record was sort of a badge of honor and meant that they were going to sell a bunch of records once it was put on there.
Yeah. And I didn't, for me, it wasn't about the it wasn't about the sales. It was about the idea. Like John Doe from X, I love John. And I talked about, because they got pissed at us, like the Beach Kids, they got pissed at us. Because we were kind of there was the first wave of the LA punk, and then the Beach Kids come in, and we're big kids. I mean, like TSOL, there is no one in that band under 6 feet tall.
Right.
Like, that was the smallest guy was 6 feet. It was like 6 feet to 6'5", right? And, big strapping Beach Kids. And And so they'd get mad at us because we'd come up to, we'd roll up into the city and it was fucking craziness and just, that whole thing, whatever that was, right?
Right.
And they were mad at us. And I said, then you shouldn't have written those songs, dude. You write songs about battling the police and fighting the parents in the street. And I'm a kid and I put on your record and I go, yeah. And then I take that and do it. And then you're mad at me for doing it. It's like, come on, man.
Did you, so tell us about, you met the TSOL guys in high school. How did that come together?
No, our drummer, it was kind of I was playing in a band called Vicious Circle with the TSOL's drummer, Todd. It was Todd and I and a couple other cats. And then I got into some trouble and had to kind of split the lower 48 states, if you will. I had to fly out of here for a little while. I was kind of dodging some trouble. And then I went straight and laid low for a little bit. And Todd, the drummer, he met Mike and Ron, and they started a little 3-piece. And then when they heard I was back in California, they came and asked me to join them. So,
and
it's funny. Like sometimes I'll hear these guys, like I don't want to be a punk. I've never wanted to be this. It's so funny because sometimes I see guys like they try so hard to be punk. It's like, bitch, I didn't want to be punk. I wanted to go to an Ivy League school and be in a fraternity and just be some straight, Senator Grisham now or whatever it was, right? But the bottom line was I just couldn't behave. I couldn't go straight no matter what. And when I took off out of the States to go get away, yeah, I'm going to get away and I'm going to go straight. But then I come home and I'm home for 3 or 4 weeks. And all of a sudden that bent straw just starts creeping on in. And next thing you know, my whole game plan to go straight's just gone to shit, man. It's like, again, over and over and over again.
You guys back then, I mean, it was early on. It was a bit of a crazy time, like you said. Going up, you guys would get in the car and go up to Hollywood and go to a Black Flag. I mean, Black Flag was from Huntington Beach, right?
Well, no, they're Hermosa Beach. So
excuse me, you're right. Hermosa
No.
Beach, right.
But this is funny because this is the other HB. See,
right.
when you get into it, like the guys up there go, that's real HB. It's like, no, we're in the real HB down here. But this was something else too. We came from the suburbs. And I try to explain that to people. It's like you can take a punk and put him in the city. Now, in the city, there's a level of craziness. If a guy's walking down the street in his shitty underwear, wrapped in an old sleeping bag in the city, well, they let it go, basically. But you don't put a guy in the suburbs walking down the street in shitty underwear wrapped in a sleeping bag. He's getting attacked by the neighbors. The police are beating the shit out of him. So we were punks in the suburbs, which everyone hated you. Yeah. There was nobody, it's like nobody, no one liked you. The police didn't like you. The troublemakers in the town didn't like you. The straight people didn't like you. You mentioned that the Frankenstein bit earlier when you and I were talking, and I know what it feels like to run while being chased by townspeople with torches. I know how that feels, man.
We were talking on a previous show, back in the early 80s when I shaved my head, I was in Boston, and we'll get to that. But in 81, and when you back then, people didn't even know what to make of you. You know what I mean? Like people would scream at you, "Fucking Devo," be like, "Fucking Devo."
Well, that was always the one. It was Devo. Devo. I like Devo, or if they got scared, so they yelled Devo. They'd yell Devo if they saw you, but if you actually caught them, because there were a couple times I might have caught a couple people, then they'd say, "Hey, I dig Devo. I dig Devo."
Fucking love Devo.
Yeah.
But yeah. That was a crazy time. Who early TSOL contemporaries, like right out of the gate, like who's really.
The thing was a lot of the playing down here was, backyard parties. I played a backyard party, Vicious Circle and the Circle Jerks in somebody's garage. There would be, there'd be a house party, a nooner house party, and it's the Vandals, Agent Orange, TSOL, China White, all playing in a house at noon. I like it better when you're on there with me. Where are you?
Okay, I'm here, man. Don't
Don't
worry, bro. I'm here.
Here. I start talking to myself. So these were the guys. The adolescents. These were neighborhood bands. See, this is the other thing. Like sometimes with this space of time between us, it's like these were just the neighborhood guys. These were, guys I'd see the guys in the Vandals or China White or the Crowd or, the Germs even or whatever, Black Flag, Circle Jerks. It's like this neighborhood, man. It's just neighborhood shit. Did
you see the Germs back in the day?
I did. The very first show I ever played in my life was the Germs, Middle Class, and Vicious Circle at a club called the Fleetwood. That was the first real show I played, other than a couple of house parties. You're playing with these guys, and the thing, TSOL's first record was supposed to be a split 12-inch with the Germs. Wow. It was going to be, and Darby, we had talked about it, so it had just been something we talked about, but it was going to be. We were thinking of doing a split 12-inch together, but then he died, and it never got. It didn't happen. But
you guys recorded pretty. Swiftly out of the gate. I mean, you were
yeah, it was fast. Like I got in the band probably in the fall of '80, and we recorded by the start of '81, and then we did, and that was what's funny too, because we did our first EP and the Dance With Me record. We recorded them basically back to back. Like we played all those songs. Like all those songs were in the set list.
Right.
And we played them. So we did the first EP and then we did Dance With Me. And they were only like 2 months apart. It was literally 2 or 3 months apart. They were both released in the beginning of 1981. Okay, now look at this picture. This is what's funny that you're showing this picture. So they said, so when Dance With Me came out, they go, oh, they've gone goth. They've got the goth bandwagon. Oh, look at this. Look at this picture. My hair's standing straight up like that. I got a white face on. I got eye makeup and lip makeup on this picture. Now, I don't know how much more goth I'm saying you can get than that look right there. But because it was on a black and white EP, and a couple of the songs are political, they said, oh, you've gone from a political band to a goth band, where it's like, no, man, it's the same band. It's just different songs out of the set list. That was it. But if you look, this is the original picture from the Ed Culver shot that was on the TSOL cover.
Hey, here's a friend of ours chiming in, Lenny B from Crazy Eddie. It's funny how California bands had really good production back in the day, where New York bands sounded like it was recorded on a boombox. Your first 2 recordings still, they sound great, still.
Okay, but and that's funny, Lenny. It's funny that you say that, because this record, the TSOL's first EP was recorded, mixed, and mastered for $500. That was the price on it. I'm thinking, well, who's got 500? It's like, who's got that? So $500. That record was recorded, mixed, and mastered for $500. And speaking of Ed Culver, Posh Boy probably fucked him around on how much he paid him for the cover too. So, but we spent nothing. The second record, Dance With Me, was recorded and mixed in I think it was 16 hours. 16 hours recorded and mixed. We just went through the songs, just bam, 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 and recorded them.
This picture I just put up, this is about the same time, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And here's what else is funny. So you see Mike Roach and Ron's tattoos, right? And our drummer Todd had a lot of tattoos. So the very first article, it was in Flipside Fanzine, the very first interview they ever did with us. One of the first questions they said was, "What's with the tattoos?" Because it was so strange, there weren't a lot of bands. Now you can see I don't have any on me, but there weren't a lot of bands that had tattoos on them. So they were asking us, why do you guys have tattoos on you? Were you in the Navy?
Yeah, right. Back then it was Navy guys in winos, right?
Yeah, so, that's it. Yeah.
Hey, so one thing that's real interesting. I want to who checked in on the chat here is Al Baril from SSD Control. Yeah, Boston guy. And let me put this up because this goes back. This is a flyer that I made for a gig that was June 3rd, 1982, when I was in a band, the Mighty COs, and we played with TSOL at the Gallery East in Boston. And let me get that banner out of the way. And so we crossed paths in 1982. But what's really interesting here is you guys were out touring the country in 1982 when there really was no real roadmap to this thing.
No. And that, that's something else too. There weren't a lot of bands, you got the Dead Kennedys, Black Flag. There weren't a lot of punk bands like touring back then. And everything was all like, well, look at the Gallery East. I don't know, were there a lot of shows there? It wasn't like a real club, right? It was like a gallery.
It was the Gallery East. The Gallery East was an art space that we would rent, I think, for $25.
Right.
We would rent it for $25. We'd go to the local precinct and get there was some sort of like a weird permit we had to get for $15. And then we would do a show in this place. And I think, in the end, you guys played that show. Minor Threat played, MDC played. I think there was only 11 shows, but it was an action-packed 11 shows. It was down in a part of Boston that no one gave a shit about back then. Right. And nowadays it's a gym now, but it was an art gallery.
Yeah, I loved it. Well, and those were like a lot of the places when we first started touring. Those were a lot of the places that we played, man. It was like somebody's got it's like, oh, we're meeting on this corner and walking over to this little area, or you're somewhere, you're playing the Indian Center, you're playing the, something.
Somebody just pointed out that flyer was June 3rd. Today's June 3rd.
Oh shit. Wow.
So go figure. That's show yeah.
I'm looking at the flyer thinking, where's he seeing June 3rd?
Yeah, no, at the very top, I had the date on it.
Okay, so that was 38 years ago.
Wow.
Right? Is that right? Is my math off?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah, 30 years ago.
That is crazy. I didn't even. That's just by total happenstance, man.
Yeah, and it's funny. Sometimes I have kids come up to me because you're showing. I can cuss on this, right? A little bit if I drop an F-bomb.
You can fucking say whatever you want.
So it's funny. You're showing that Suburbia clip, right?
Yeah.
I see kids that watch that Suburbia clip, and I'd fuck me. I'm looking good on that.
Yeah, right.
So I see these kids look at me and they go, well, what happened? It's like, yeah, dude, that was 38 fucking years ago, guys. Cut us some slack, man. Oh my God, I'm lucky to still be on two legs, man.
Hey, listen, we could get into this later, but sadly for a lot of our contemporaries who kind of didn't get off that road of destruction, they didn't really make it. Listen, I've said it on this show a couple of times. I mean, I've been clean and sober now over 11 years, and man, I'm glad I got off. I'm sorry it took me so long to get off that bus, but damn, I'm fucking glad I did, man. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's an interesting bus to get off, and especially depending on who you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
It's like it just seems like that's a normal life. It's like, well, this is just, I'm not doing anything. Like that was my issue. I quit, so I'm a little over 31 years clean and sober.
That's incredible.
But everyone I was with was as bad as me or worse. So it's not like it wasn't like I was going to church and then looking at the guy in the pew next to me saying, hey, you want to rob a liquor store after this? Like that. So there's no look of shock on their face. So I'm hanging out with guys that are going to jail, getting arrested, doing blow, taking pills, drinking, smoking weed, little hash, eating mushrooms. And when somebody says, hey, Jack, you got a problem. Well, I'm checking all those guys and they're looking at me and going, no problem. No problem. You're fine, bud. You're all right. It's like, wait a minute. My life doesn't feel fine. So,
I mean, That's an incredible clip of time, and I will say we're pretty much about the same age. What's crazy now is guys our age that have sort of not got off the bus. It's not they're not aging well right now. It's a tough time.
Yeah,
you know? To be in your 50s and using like that, not good.
Yeah.
You know. What else? You know, here. Okay, back to the nationwide tour thing. What did you guys just get in a van and go across the country back then?
Van. We didn't even have a van. Our drummer was in 9th grade. It's just like, you know, it's like I try to explain this to people. It's like our drummer was in 9th grade. Our bass player and guitar player had probably only been playing their instruments maybe a year when we did that first record. These guys weren't music guys. You know what I mean? They weren't playing music when they were kids. They weren't going to music class or learning this shit. It's like they got into it because of punk rock. It's like, oh, pick up this guitar. Let's try to do this. I know our drummer Todd had just started playing drums when because I knew him. I mean, I remember when he got his first drum kit. Like he had an actual drum kit. Was probably only about 6 months before we recorded the first record. Like he didn't know how to play.
And he was, of course, much younger than you guys, right?
Yeah, about 3 years younger. He quit school right after 9th grade.
Which back then, 3 years is like
15 or something, 14.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not old enough to be out with us.
Right.
You know, not old enough to be out with us running around. And so to get around, the very first tour we did, we took a U-Haul. We got a month-long rental on a box van. So there were no windows or anything. And so it had a crawl space between the front seats.
And
our road manager was from Boston. His name was Microwave. They called him Mike. You remember Microwave?
Mike, okay. Sure.
Yeah. So Microwave drove us. He was the one that drove us. And we had a crawl under this box van. You could crawl through a hole to get in the back.
Yeah.
And we put a couch in there and our gear, and then we had our dirty clothes, and we all just laid in the back, and Microwave drove.
we just laid in squalor in the back.
You know, and what's funny, if I think about it now, you know, Microwave, he was probably only maybe 23 or 24. He wasn't that old, and he was the one in charge. You know what I mean? And I remember, like, one time he got so pissed at me because he had come back and I had taken everybody's clothes and put them on a fire and burned them. So he comes back and the clothes are all burning. He's like, hey, that's my fucking jacket, man.
It's like we talked about back then, you know, a year or two was just, you know, when you're 18 and someone's 16, here's another photo. Lenny B asking about, you know, this isn't a great high res one, but I like this one. What's going on in the graveyard?
Oh, well, that was okay. So here's this. So the outfit I'm wearing right there is like a total Bruce Lee suit. So I would decide that I was going to be. So at the time, I was going by the name James Wu at the time in this picture, and so I would just like I got the glove, I got everything, man. So I would just and look at the haircut, the same Bruce Lee, just straight across haircut, you know, just
that's great.
Anyway, so there was these graveyards that were all around our house, and you know, we used to just go and just, well, you know, vandalize them, I guess. We just,
in lack of a better term,
you know, stealing all the headstones and breaking into the crypts. And, you know, there was one where you could actually pick up some bones. It was an abandoned graveyard that people had been digging into stuff. And, you know, it was just, it's just kids, you know, kids having a time. Kids having a time. Just sounds like when my grandmother used to try to explain my behavior. Just a child trying to have a time, you know.
Al Burrell from SSD. Any chance you can recreate the Bruce Lee look in 2020?
Oh, I keep trying, man. I keep trying. It's not happening.
For sure. Let me dig in. Let me see what other photos I put aside. Maybe they can instigate up some conversation. Here's another one, actually. You know, after I was in Boston, I went back to New York and I started a band called the High and the Mighty. And then, of course, I ended up in Antidote. And here's a gig of you and I playing together at the Rock Hotel on Jane Street. You remember the Rock Hotel on Jane Street? It was on the west side, off the West Side Highway.
Okay, I do. Now, when was this? What year was this?
This was April 12th, 1984.
Okay, now I was probably out of the band by then.
Is that right?
So that was anything.
Okay.
I do remember that place, but by then I was gone. I had split at the end of '83. I took a break, and then they went on to do like whatever they went on to do. Yeah.
I always wondered, how did you feel once they kept going and sort of they morphed into other things? Like, what was your take on that?
Well, it was funny because it at first it's like I just didn't care. You know, I mean, I didn't give a fuck.
Fuck that.
Yeah, it's like I just didn't even care. It's like, yeah, go do whatever you want. I don't give a shit. What do I care? You know. Yeah. But then later on, well, right the minute they did that, they did it for money.
Right.
So, and that was against what. Not that I'm against money. I'm a big fan of cash, man. But the band didn't stand for that. Like the band, like my idea. The reason why the whole band broke up in the first place was we were having a lot of police troubles and all sorts of shit. And I told those guys, I said, hey, let's just call ourselves a different name. That's how I think. Like, I think, oh, fuck, let's just call ourselves something else and let's just start at the beginning and play backyard parties again and have fun. Like, that's what I
do the reset. Do the reset.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Reset. And they're like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
And so Todd, the drummer, and Greg, the keyboard player, they quit when I quit. The three of them quit. Right. And then Roach and Ron, you know, for some reason, instead of standing on their own feet with a new name, they use TSOL because why not? It's known all around. It's got a name, you know, and names are good, man. And so they did it. And
now the guy that stepped in to sing was
Joe.
Your brother-in-law, right?
Yeah, he later married my sister. Yeah, which is yeah, and he was actually trying to sue us when we both lived in my mother's house, which is pretty interesting. Wow. Trying to like sue me when he's lived at my mother's, and then after like, but the thing that like killed me the worst is what happened is, as far as I've always looked at music to me has always been all inclusive. I learned there is no such thing as a rock star in my world. In my world, you know, there's no rock stars. There's no special backstage. There's no VIP. There's none of that fucking bullshit. It's like, hey, we're all here. We're all here. You're just because your record sold doesn't mean shit to me, man. Well, and so that's how I grew up. So when they changed and did that, all of a sudden it's backstage and hanging out and, you know, this shit. And then I started getting bummed. Then I started thinking, this is fucked. And this, you know, and it kind of reminded me, it's like, so your girlfriend sleeps with some dude that you don't like, right? That you don't like. So your girlfriend just slept with some guy you don't like. And then the guy she slept with is out being a fucking idiot. And people are going, yeah, it's the guy that's fucking Janie. It's like, no, I'm the one fucking Janie, not that guy. You know, it's like, whatever. So I would be getting blamed for shit they did. Like I'd be playing shows and they go, yeah, this guy used to be in a fucked hair metal band. It's like, no, man. The other guy.
Hey, man, fucking Poison, bro.
Yeah, it was rough. And, you know, and I don't believe in what they stood for. That's the trouble. Anyway, let's talk about something happy. How about the Joy Killer? Yeah.
Now, did this come when you left TSOL initially? Is this the first musical project that you got rolling?
No. I did some other stuff. Just when I first left TSOL, I started playing Cathedral of Tears. That was like a total loungy, neuro kind of band because I was fucking done with the violence. I was done with all of that, man. You know, I'd had enough. And so I did that. But the Joy Killer, I started doing after I got sober. This is when I was back into music, thinking about music. Like like wanting to create it. What am I making? Like this, the Joy Killer was me aware of what I'm doing.
Right.
That's what that was. And that was a great band, man. One of my favorites. We would go through and we used a Zappa thing in this. So in this band, so Zappa used to play songs, and when he was going from one song to the next, sometimes he'd jump up in the air, and when he landed on the ground, they'd go into the next song or whatever.
Sure.
So we used that in the Joy Killer. I would flash hand signals at him. And we just go right into the next song. And so sometimes the Joy Killer sets would be a half an hour straight of all the music ran into each other with no breaks in between, just boom, boom, and then we'd be done. And we had to play the whole record back to back, song to song, you know. And
that makes sense.
Yeah. And then just real quick,
please,
fucked up story. So if you go back to that picture, if you go, can you go back to it or not?
I'm on it, baby.
All right.
There you go.
Right. Okay, so Mark Phillips, who's in the front, you know, black, and we're in Texas, and we go to get some barbecue, like in Texas, right? And this is fucking, people they talk about, oh, the country's not like that. It's like, bitch, fucking, you have not been, right? So we're in Texas and we're getting some barbecue, and Mark's in front of me, and the guy's not even paying attention to Mark, and he's in line to order, and the guy won't even look at Mark. And so the guy looks at me and he says, "What are you going to be having, young man?" And I said, "Well, I'll have the brisket." "Well, I'll have the brisket." And he goes, "And what about your boy?" That's what the guy said to me at the fucking restaurant. And I looked at him, I said, "The boy will also be having brisket, sir." Fucking, just being a dick. But it's like, people just don't, what I mean, I don't want to get into all this with everything going on today, but anyone who does not think that this shit isn't still going on is sleeping in a hole somewhere.
Listen, there's parts of this country I know from touring that are, and I don't want to mention any particular states that are pretty damn scary. And when we were touring in a van and stuff like that, there are a couple of states where we would stop, get gas, and keep fucking going, man.
We ran into a bunch of that, man. Like a bunch of that, where they were just, first of all, they were freaked out. They'd never seen anyone that looked like us. And we usually traveled armed.
Yeah.
So, there's a funny story. I'm not going to get into it, but we happen to have a lot of guns on us at one time. And so much that I had two pistols down the front of we had a little Speedo, and I had like Zardoz. You ever see that?
Of course.
So I got a little Speedo on.
Keep talking. I want to dig up a Zardoz photo. Go ahead.
All right. So I got a little Sean Connery rig up with guns stuck in the front of it. And then Microwave had enough. He, the gunplay had to stop. Right? He's like, or no, later on, it wasn't Microwave at that time. It was our manager, Mike. And he's saying, "Look, this gunplay's got to stop, man. You fuckers need to pack up every single gun in this vehicle, put it in a box, and send it home. You got to send this home." And so we roll into this club, all, I'm twirling 6 guns, just kids fucking out of control. And that's my look. right there. So I'm rolling like that, bro. I'm rolling like that, coming into this club and just, doing quick draws out of my fucking underwear, just being fucked, right? And
right.
So our manager had enough. He just said, the gun's got to go, man. The gun's got to go. So we had to ship all these guns home, but the promoter saw us with them. And then we later on got in trouble with the promoter, and he called the troopers, and he told them, "Hey, these fuckers are heavily armed. Hey, stop! You got to get these guys. You got to stop them." And but they are heavily armed. So when we got pulled over on the toll road, and we stopped, but they're not coming up to the car. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? And then I look and I realize they have both sides of the freeway blocked off. So they're figuring it's going to be a shootout. And when they and I could hear them outside going, "Go easy, Lem, go easy," like yelling back at each other and stuff. And my family's from Oklahoma, so it's like I have one of my uncles is a trooper. You know, he's 6'6", big old boy, man. And I know how those guys are. And you could hear them outside the van yelling back and forth at each other. You know, my uncle's name is Travis. You know, all right, Travis, watch that door. You know, whatever. And anyway, when we came out of that vehicle, they were shitting. They were shitting when they saw us because the hair is crazy and we're getting out. And they're going, "What do we got? What do we got?" Because they've never seen it.
Right. It was almost like a bad science fiction movie where like you know the pod crashes and the creatures come out and.
Exactly. That's what they did. The first guy that walked out was human T-shirt, 6'5", in his underwear with a pair of Herman boots and fucking red hair sticking up like this, and they're just freaking out. And then they took us in one by one. And so the trooper that took me in first, he put the shotgun against the back of my head, like against. So his gun was on the back of my head, and he's poking me. And he goes, "You get up in your, you open that thing." Because I told him, he goes, "Where's your suitcase, son?" I go, "It's up here." He goes, all right, you talk it out. Talk it out. Every move you make, talk it out. No surprises. No surprises. And he's hit me in the back of the head with a shotgun. I said, "I'm reaching for the cabinet. I am opening the cabinet." "No surprises." I'm like, "No surprises. I'm opening the cabinet." And it was fucking, they had us down at gunpoint on the side of the road, man, blocked out. And it was, you know, fucking whatever.
Listen, you know, it's like we mentioned before is, in those early days, you know, guys like you and Black Flag and the Misses, there was no roadmap. So you're going out. There wasn't like, you know, even a couple years after that, it was like, okay, we can go from here to here and this place. Back then, there was almost no there was no roadmap. It was all virgin territory, man.
And you may be somewhere one week and it's a viable club that week, but next week it's not. So you never know what's happening. You know, one time I was driving, I was out in Nevada in the middle of nowhere. Okay, come on, join me again. Where are you? I like
I feel good that
I'm looking at you while I'm talking instead of looking at myself.
You know, it's all right. Listen, hey, so
I'm your guest.
Before we move on, I guess the end of the story. So what happened?
Real quick. So I'm in fucking around. I'm in Virginia City. I'm dicking around, and then I'm out on some weird road in the middle of nowhere in the Nevada desert. We're talking Ponderosa, fucking Bonanza, or whatever the fuck out there, right? And all of a sudden, shit starts looking familiar, and I'm thinking, what the fuck, man? And I look and I see this little old building, and then I see a sign that says Pony Express route. And I realized, oh my God, we played here. And I'm looking, and it was a building that we had played at in 1981 with DOA in 7 seconds in the middle of nowhere. So speaking no roadmap, man, it was just somebody had found a little out building and turned it into a place for a show. So
crazy. Hey, stick with me a second. Let me shout out the sponsors, all right? Okay. Yo, it's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by Fryette, amplification of New York Hardcore Comics. I want to welcome a new sponsor to the show. New sponsor coming down the pike. It is time to introduce our new friends. Here we go. The Organic Grill. Organic Grill is a vegan restaurant located in the East Village of New York City at 123 First Avenue, featured in New York Magazine, the New York Times, and Veg News. Their dishes have won numerous awards, including Best Veggie Burger. They make their own cheeses, sauces, and burger patties, and every dish on the menu can be made gluten-free. This year, they're celebrating their 20th anniversary, and they are all about having a great time while enjoying amazing clean food. After 3 months of being closed, they are now open for deliveries. Get in touch with them and order some great fucking food at www.theorganicgrill.com. That's it. Organic Grill is on board and supporting the show. So if you're down in that part of town, hopefully, they haven't been looted and burned down yet, and they're still in business. So check them out. Also, I want to thank everybody for supporting the show. I ran my Patreon banner before. I want to run my PayPal banner here. It's your contributions and your support is what makes this show happen. A lot of people have got on board. I just want to say thank you. I consider myself really blessed that this show has really found the audience that it has worldwide, and you're all a part of it. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. There's a PayPal address. Here's the Patreon address. So, get busy, get down. Let me see. Here you go. Great food. Yep. Organic Grill rules. Yes, Todd Hamilton. Hello, Organic Grill. That's right. Vlad is the best. I hope you're hearing all this, Vlad, how much love you're getting, bro. So they're new in the game, Organic Grill. And I even got a little banner for them. So there you go. That's that. What else? Upcoming shows I mentioned. We got the boxing show on Friday. We got the Gallo Brothers coming up on Sunday. We got Danny Lilker coming up a week from today. And another show that I want to announce. You hear it here first. Coming up a week from Friday, we got Mr. Mark Rizzo coming on the show. Mark Rizzo came up. He was in El Nino. He plays in Soulfly with Max Cavalera. And, of course, he's in the Cavalera Conspiracy with Max and Igor. So we're kind of stoked on that. We have Mark Rizzo coming on. That's going to be a great show. Let me get rid of that Patreon banner. We'll keep moving. What else? Everybody know we did Patreon. We did Christine Cambria's artwork. What's up with Christine Cambria's artwork? www.ccambria.com. Support Christine Cambria. Her artwork is incredible. As you know, I have a long, rich history with Christine Cambria. Also, Jonathan Buskey, I want to shout him out. He did the ABCs of New York Hardcore, which has the cool legend on the back. Go check out Buskey. 20% off using the discount code New York Hardcore 20 at checkout. www.buskey.bigcartel.com. I know everyone was wondering if my dad's house phone was going to ring during the show. It hasn't yet, but it's always a light moment when it does ring. Also, that's kind of it. Jim says hello to everybody. It's raining here in Florida, but he's all right. And that said, let me see anybody else before we get back to our guest. How's the lizard? Yeah, there you go. How's the lizard? The lizard's good. Me and the lizard. Listen, I've been with a lot of Liz's, but never a lizard. Yep, John Joseph Spot the Organic Grill. That's right. They are a new sponsor. And what else? We need Arnie's number for a future show. Like I said, my dad is coming on the show on Friday. It's on. Get your shoes and socks on, kids. Arnie Stone is on doing the boxing show. We're going to talk about a lot of great stuff. Him working with Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and Willie Pep. We got Craig Satari from Sick of It All on. Don Foos from the Spud Monsters. So, yeah, all that's going down. And what else? Here we go. Jackson, amazing interview. So let's bring him back on. Let's continue with the madness. Jack Grisham, what's happening, buddy?
Hey, still here.
Still here. Let me see. Hey, let's get into something a little bit different here. Let's throw a couple things around. Did you run for governor of California at some point?
Yeah, but I just did it to bitch about healthcare.
Okay.
There was no luckily our present administration has lowered the bar. So guys like me are now a viable candidate, which is a shock, but at the time I just wanted to talk about the state of healthcare in our country. So that's what I did.
Did you get that across?
No. I mean, if I did, we wouldn't still be in the same situation that we are now, but things are better. It just, that was what I wanted to talk about. That was healthcare. It's like I had no chance of winning. It was kind of a joke. It was, it's a little almost embarrassing, but it was interesting. It was funny. I was talking to one of the guys I was on CNN, and the guy was really nice to me. He said, "Hey, Jackie goes, it doesn't look like you have a chance in hell of winning, but you're the only one out there that sounds like he knows what's going on." So
right.
I'm really enjoying this conversation. And it was funny because I got offered jobs. I got offered, I got offered jobs after it. Hey, do you want to work for this congressman? Do you want to work for this? You want to, we'd love to have you as a field representative. And I just, the whole thing left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, so. I can imagine. Let's talk a little bit about some of your writing endeavors. An American Demon, a memoir, which I read, which I enjoyed.
It's funny. I'm actually in the middle right now doing I guess a straight autobiography with a guy.
No.
yeah, which is it's interesting. It's interesting. Like American Demon was fun. Like I didn't want to just do. Some people just need to lighten the fuck up, man. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's literature. It's a story. It's a tale. It's a fable. At the very start of it, I say, hey, look, man, this is true or not true. It's a tale. Yeah. It's a traveler's tale. That's what this is, Right. And, because I'm a big fan of Treasure Island and, I grew up reading, it's like, so, and I didn't want to just do the standard fucked up rock guy bio. Who wants that? You know what I mean? It's like, and I don't take any pride in being an asshole. I mean? I'm not proud of shit I did. I don't want to stand there and, that was one of the things, even when I wrote the book, I didn't want to re-hurt people that I had hurt already. Like, I don't want to hurt these people again, man. I don't want to do that. It's not worth it. I don't care how much money you give me. It's not worth it.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And especially as you and I know, a lot of those people I had made amends to and straightened up. So, so you're sorry about it, and yet you're going to use it as a book passage. Right. So
I shot coke and fucked it. And yeah, it's like,
yeah, it's great. Good. Excellent for you, champ. I'm just not a fan of that.
Yeah, so, I agree with that.
Have fun. So American Demon was really a story about selfishness. It was about somebody who's so selfish and self-absorbed that it mimics sociopathy, that that it's like this guy's so involved in himself that he can't see anything that goes on around him. And, and so that's, and especially I didn't attend a lot of school. I didn't, the American Demon was the first thing I ever really wrote besides some lyrics. Right. I just said, I'll write a book. I can really how do you do that? Just start. And
he who dares wins, man. Right? Well, I mean,
Yeah, I am literally a one finger typer, and I'm still a one finger typer. I can do probably 50 words a minute, like this, but I'm a one finger type. I couldn't tell you the parts of a sentence. If you asked me to show you I don't even know the name, a past particle, whatever. I didn't know anything about sentence structure or anything. It was learning from. And my girlfriend at the time was editing for me, right? And so the first chapter I gave her was just redlined all over the place. What is this? What is this? Makes no sense. Punctuation.
Run-on sentence.
Oh, yeah. All like it literally just looked like somebody had taken a can of spray paint and wrote "sucks" on it. It was so red. And then as we went on, there was getting to be less and less red. And then I gave her a chapter, and there was hardly any red in it at all. And I said, hey, come on, man. You're not doing your work. And she said, no, you're finally doing yours. Okay. And so basically, I learned to write by writing American Demon. That's how I learned to write. So
right. And it's like talking to Ditto the other day. Same sort of thing. He wrote his memoir, and I have a lot of respect for writers. And we have a winner. Hey, you got that, Pop? I'm here with my 87-year-old dad, and he still has a house phone. And he insists on having a house phone. And everybody gets a big kick when the phone rings during the show, So I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
No. I'm good.
Didn't mean to interrupt. Al Baril asks, did you start a movie version of the
Well,
film?
there's a script. There's a script written, but this is like, look. So I'm not the most aware tool in the shed. You know what I mean? Like, now, once you show me something, like let's say even if it's mathematical or whatever it is, if you show me how something works, then I can see that formula all over the place. Oh, I see it here, and it's used here, and here, here. Okay, then I can see it. But I'm unaware of what's happening. So when it came time to make a movie of An American Demon, fuck, I had no idea it was a period piece. I didn't think of that. Like, I didn't think that, we're talking, so much of it is based in the late 60s, the early 70s, where it's like, hey, the clothes got to be straight. The cars got to be straight. I mean, look what you got Quentin Tarantino doing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. What a big deal that it's like, yeah, well, I'm looking at the same thing. However, I don't got $20 million, $30 million to make a fucking movie, And so everybody I talked to who would even look at that film said, hey, this is getting the money for this is going to be a real bitch.
It's funny. I can relate to that because I have a script that I was involved in that I co-wrote called Finders Keepers, and it was written in let's just say the first draft was in the mid 90s. So recently,
25 years ago.
Right.
Let's make sure that's straight. 25 years ago. Yeah.
Right. So recently, with sort of the buzz with the Ilago film that's on Netflix and all the other stuff I've done, I've had people say, hey, what do you have a dramatic script? What do you have? So I dusted off Finders Keepers. It did another rewrite. And I'm looking at it again, and like people have beepers and shit in the film, and all of a sudden it's a period piece, and it's like, fuck,
Yeah, it's crazy to think about that. So, I think about that sometimes when I write these days, like putting people in one room. So Thomas asked, who are my influences, the writer?
Please.
I grew up, so, I was a science fiction kid. So Harlan Ellison, Henry Kuttner,
Nice.
Damon Knight, Asimov, Ray Bradbury, like all those guys. That was, and then I liked a lot of the classics, Mark Twain, and those were my influences.
Did you read a lot growing up, or even?
I did. That's all I did. All I did was read. It was, and now Carver. I really like Carver. There's a lot of guys that I like now, and but when I was a kid, we got five kids in the house. My dad was pretty fucking hardcore. The TV was his to watch. We had one TV. It was his to watch. I work. God damn it, I'm gonna sit here and fuck. His thing. He's gonna watch a TV. So
a real military man.
You bet. So what do? Well, you go in your room and you read a book. And so that's what I did. So. I was shocked. I didn't even realize that people had TV shows until in the 80s. I remember playing a TSOL show one time, and there was nobody there, like nobody. And I'm thinking, wow, this is a bummer, man. And the guy goes, no, the phone's been off the hook. This is gonna kill it tonight. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Nobody's here, man. And he goes, well, MASH is on. When MASH is off, it's going to be packed. So it was the last episode of MASH.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, what are you saying to me? Are you telling me they're watching TV? Is that what's happening? These people, like, I was shocked that people were invested in the television set because I wasn't invested in anything other than books. That's what I was invested in.
Yeah, and listen, as you know, in the world we live in today, reading books is just been put on the back burner to video games, and this is something that comes up a lot. It comes up a lot in my films. We talk about it a lot on the show. Is sort of like hardcore in general, the community and the culture, is what pulls us together on this. And so many of these elements that we had when we were kids, like going to the record store on a Tuesday to, we would go and we'd get the record and look at it and decide, what is it, who, you look at the art and who did it and you'd read and you research these things. And, nowadays, kids are just, music is a background to a video game for the most part. It's a crazy world.
I get a lot of guys that say, "Hey, I got into you from Grand Theft Auto."
There you go.
Or something, you know.
Yeah.
So, but then again, you got to watch. Like I always have to watch when I'm talking about this shit that I don't want to sound like some old asshole.
Yeah.
You know, living in the past. Like you know, I got to remember that too. I got to, you know, I can't sit here and judge their experience based on mine. You know. So.
Yeah, there's the changing times. How about what Rick says? Your 12-step book has helped me immensely. Can you give us a little perspective on the 12-step book?
Yeah, and Rick, I'm glad, man, because that's why I did it. So like I said, you know, I've been clean for over 31 years, and you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about what a lot of these 12-step groups are. Like what it's about, what the issue is. You know, some of them think it's brainwashing. Some of them think they're going to go in there and people are going to start controlling their lives and fucking telling them what to do, because there are groups that are like that. But so basically I break it down into, well, in my opinion, as it should be. With all that bullshit, like all the bullshit taken out. You know, it's funny. Thomas Jefferson took the New Testament and cut and pasted. Did you know that there's a Jefferson Bible? It's actually pretty bitchin'. If you I got it. I don't know where it is right now. The Smithsonian a couple of years ago, they re-released it.
The Jefferson Bible?
The Jefferson Bible. So Thomas Jefferson took the Bible and he, you know, I'm surprised he didn't get put to the stake for this, man. And he took the New Testament and he cut it up. And he took out any of the magic or the miracle shit. He took that out. And he took anything that gave power to the church. He took that out. And he put the teachings of Jesus together, cut and paste. And he made his own Bible out of it, right?
Wow.
Because he said, hey, these teachings are solid. It's this other bullshit that we don't fucking need in here. So getting back to that book I wrote about the 12 steps, it's right. Hey, look, this is solid. So let me strip away all the bullshit and just talk about what's solid out of this. So my version of that 12-step companion is like Jefferson's version of the Bible. It's like, hey, let's cut out the bullshit and just talk about this. And that's what I did. And I'm glad it's been very helpful for some people.
Fantastic. Once again, hey, our guest is Jack Grisham. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Any questions you have, please post them up. You might have put them on earlier in the show, but they got moved off of. So any questions, now's the time. We're going to start heading down the home stretch here. But here's a good one, Jack. Where did I see this? You know, my brother, I told you, my brother lives in Venice and he surfs. You know, he's a surfer. He's been surfing a long time. I like this one here. My buddy Shul says, you're a fierce local My Wave surfer. Are you still able to surf with this COVID thing, and have the limited spots caused a kook overload?
Oh my God, that's the best post I've seen ever. Yeah, I used to be good. I don't really surf. That they keep trying to get me to go. I actually used to be I was good at surfing, and so like I still walk around and I'll run into people and they'll say, oh my God. And, you know, I was watching, God, in 1979, I saw you surfing, you know, whatever, like it. And it feels good. I like that, you know, but I live right across the street from the break I surf. So I'm literally, you know, 100 yards away from the ocean right now. And yes, I did used to go out and be a little controlling. Let's just say it's like, you know, but I did it in a fun way. Like I was kind of a dick. I like to wear Speedos. So either I would take them off and then tie them around my neck, because nobody wants to go with some nude guy paddling in front of them. And I'd pull them up my ass like a French cut and paddle in front of people. And then I had these pair of Speedos that said, fuck you across the ass on them. Just, you know, on my surfboards would have big 666s on, you know, you know, huge dicks drawn on the bottom of the board, you know, just an asshole. And so yes, To the first part of that, yes. And to the second part of that, with the COVID thing going on, for a while, our beach was the only beach opened. So it was just packed. It was like, you know what's so funny down here? People here they say that if you can't see it, there's no such thing of germs. I mean, this is like the dark ages, man. It's like, there are no germs. I see no germs. It's like, bitch, man. It's like so crazy. So the whole town's just running wild. Like it's literally running wild.
I love this. We'll get right off this, but Paul says used to point to a wave and say, my wave. And if everyone went for it, they were dead.
Actually, I just say mine. It was mine.
Mine.
It was either mine or going.
Going. Going.
Going.
It's like it's a declaration. I know you're on Instagram. My brother turned me on to this Kook of the Day thing.
It's pretty funny.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
My brother turned me on to that.
And then the other thing that's also fun, just real quick to get back to the surfing thing.
Go ahead.
So of course, you know, I my friends were as stupid as I was. They're idiots, right? So then we would go out on these really bitchin' big days, like kind of scary days. And then there'd be a lot of guys out, and we'd get out and we'd you know, ride our bellies and climb on each other's back and go in front of the guy. Just, you know, we'd be such idiots, just taking off on people going, good wave, bro. You know, just being idiots that finally people would just go paddle away and they'd go surf somewhere else. And then we'd be the only two guys right there.
I mean, I'm a New York kid. I grew up, you know, in New York. My brother moved out there, you know, when he was in his early 20s. But, you know, I guess I got hip to it that, surfing is like a very territorial thing.
Yeah. But and they're crazy. This is see, now when I got into punk rock, I was already like that because the guys that I watched, later on the surfers got all, what's up, bro, dude? Right. But early surfers, like we're talking in the 50s or whatever, these guys were radicals. They were out of control, you know. And they would march around, you know, their parents had just come back from World War II. So they're riding around with, you know, German helmets and just, just being fucking idiots. And, you know, and those are the guys that were my idols when I grew up. It's like, I idoled those guys, you know, so that whole crazy, you know, out of control behavior, you know, anyway.
Absolutely. Here's our friend Steve. Talk to Jack about his amazing photography.
Yes, it's so amazing that I have to hang the pictures on the wall behind me. Nobody else wants.
Here, wait. I know you don't like this, but here you go. And let me get this out of the way too. There you go.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because this is like a clown series I did, and I got. Okay, will you come back now? Will you come back?
Yeah.
There. I like it. Okay, so I started. I was shooting photos, and then somebody said, "Hey, do you want to do an exhibit or whatever?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not sure what I want to do." And then I thought, "Okay, I'm going to shoot this thing called Clowning Around." I've had trouble with marriages in the past, and so you know, maybe I was looking at shit on the internet I shouldn't have, and talking to people or whatever, and my ex got mad at me, and I said, "Come on, man, I'm just fucking clowning around, man. I'm just clowning around here." So in all these clown series, they're like this one. You can my head there. This one, he's on this guy's back, choking him, you know, just like fucked up. And they had dildos, and they were like touching. I reenacted the Sex Pistols cowboy pissing contest. Remember the cockfight?
Yeah.
You know, but I did it with clowns holding dildos, and you know, I think people didn't really understand the series. You know, but I love shooting. I love shooting photos, and I like people. That's what I like to shoot. I'm a portrait guy.
Yeah, and I enjoy when something new comes up in my feed on Instagram. You know, I like, you know, I enjoy that. It's like, you know, through the eye of Jack Grisham. You know, that's
well, it's pretty funny, and you know, so I do like that. But I I like shooting people. Like I want to see their faces. Like
Yeah.
whatever it is, I want to. There's something in the eyes that's what I'm interested in. You know, and especially because I have trouble connecting with people sometimes, and so, but I seem to be able to, with the camera between us, I seem to be able to maintain and have this connection. So I want to see their faces, like I want to see them looking at me. And
that's really interesting. You know, it's like someone like, and I think we both know these people that they're socially challenged, and yet they can get on stage with a musical instrument and communicate. You know? Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Like the camera is just the microphone.
Yeah. And for those out there running underneath, check out Jack on Instagram at Jack Grisham Photo. Also, his website www.jackgrisham.com,
which I'm still working on.
It's a work in progress.
Well, I'm making it, so it's going slow. You know.
Right. But Jack Grisham Photo, man, good shit. And let me see. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Let me see. Anybody? Let's keep them going here.
There was a question that right before that. What was it? Do you remember? It was right before this last one. I don't know. Anyway.
Let me see. We could keep. I don't know. Here's an interesting one. Is Jack into any surf rock bands? A lot of those bands are underrated and heavy for its time.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I'll listen to some stuff. You know, what was the guy that lived next to you, sweetie? What was the guy from?
The Dirty Heads.
No. It was the guy from the Champs.
Tequilas.
Yeah, the Champs. Yeah, the guy from the Champs or whatever lived next to my girlfriend. Just like there were all those, like the surf rock bands were all like the punk rock bands,
right?
The same
of their time, yeah.
But it's funny. I'm not really a music guy. Like I
love that. I love that about you.
Yeah, I just not like, if I'm gonna do something, like I'll put on some Eno or whatever, like some of his atmospheric stuff.
Yeah.
But
and
I just sit around and listen to that, and a little jazz these days. I'll get into some of that, but I used to tell people it's like being a plumber, man. It's like if you're a plumber all day, you're plumbing, you're hooking up pipes. The last thing you want to do is go home and hook up pipes. It's like I'll play shows or whatever, and then I just want silence. I
can relate to that 100%, man. When it's time to put on music, pretty much the last thing I'm listening to is the same shit I just got off stage. Fucking screaming my fucking brains out. Yeah. I know this is one from we got people from around the world. This one's from Poland. What was the source of the goth death rock inspiration around Dance With Me era? Was it California bands like 45 Grave, or was it the early 80s British stuff, or none of the above?
Well, first of all, Martin, greetings from Poland. Greetings from here. Welcome. Anyway, I loved, so when I was getting into punk rock or whatever, like Susie and the Banshees. Yeah. I love Susie and the Banshees. Now, Susie and the Banshees wasn't what it later on turned into, but at the time listening to them, they were hard. The Susie and the Banshees were hard, man. And another one was Adam and the Ants. That first record, Dirk Wears White Socks, is an unbelievable record. And then, of course, The Damned, listening to The Damned, I love them. And so that kind of got me going on this stuff. The white faces, wearing the white face makeup. But then I also grew up reading horror stuff. As a kid, I loved all the horror. So
Chiller Theater and all that, right?
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. So it was just anyway, blah blah blah. So no, it wasn't really. And 45 Grave was something later on. That was later. That and I'm friends with them. Like I'm friends with them, but I didn't really listen to them as much as I listened to everything else.
Here's our friend Al Boril from SSD Control. Drew produced another show with Jack, Nancy, and I on a podcast.
Hey, Al, I would love that. Yeah. I would love that.
Al, stop it. You're not coming on my show, so stop it, bro. Seriously.
It's trying to get Al out of the house is what.
That's not happening. Dirk wears socks is mint. You know, I mean, just as a quick.
But what? Just on real quick on Dirk wears white socks.
Go ahead.
It was such a bummer because he got scared later on and took Catholic Day off the record. You know, was the you know the thing about John F. Kennedy getting shot. Kennedy died with his brain underneath. Poor John F. Kennedy. And he's talking about they see the chickens have come home to roost. He's hitting the Malcolm X thing, and he got scared and basically took it off the record.
I want to tell you something. I just loaded up a couple pictures. I want to tell you a crazy story real quick. My dad was a film director, and someone came and worked with him who was around in the punk scene in the 80s. And at a certain point, I saw this portfolio he had. And I saw this portfolio in the early 80s. And he came to work for my dad as a PA, as a production assistant.
Right.
Eventually, he worked his way up and became my dad's cameraman. And then when I kind of broke out with a music video career, he shot all the big music videos that I produced, like Onyx and Run DMC and Biohazard and all that stuff. And he eventually kind of cashed out all his chips and moved to Cambodia. Right. He got an EMT license in New York. And he moved to Cambodia, where that equates to being a doctor, right? He moved down there and, basically cashed out where you could live on, $2 a day down there. And he has a great life down there. He comes to New York once a year. And I saw him a couple years ago and I said, hey, man, whatever happened to those incredible photos that I saw, back in the day? And he said to me, listen, he went through this story and telling me that basically that my dad really gave him his shot in the film business and enabled him to have a big career in the film business. And he said, listen, man, when I come back next year, all those photos and negatives are in a storage room in Baltimore. And when I come back next year, I want to get them and I want to give them to you, Drew, as a gift, right?
Oh,
so he gives me he shows up. And I expect, I've dealt with this sort of thing before, with photographers, they show up with like a shopping bag, a mess. This guy shows up with a loose leaf binder with all the negatives and corresponding sheets. What do you call them? Yeah. And with this incredible bunch of photos from 1977 London that have never been seen, right? And one of the bands that he shot again and again and again was Adam and the Ants. And so I want to show you a couple of the photos. So here
so real quick.
Hmm?
Oh, that's bad. My buddy, oh my God, that's such a great shot. My buddy plays with Adam. He's Adam's guitar player.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I just saw them play at the Beacon like a while back.
Okay, so my buddy Will, who also played with a Selector and Bow Wow Wow, and anyway, so Will's the guitarist for Adam and the Ants now. Well, cool. Adam Ant, yeah, that's a great shot, man.
Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that. He gave me over 3,000 negatives, including that. These have never been seen before. I'm looking to put together a book.
Oh, I hope so. Man.
And including this guy who was incredibly vibrant, just really, really pops out.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's everything from, Adam and the Ants to Suxi and the Banshees.
Those are great shots, man.
Let me show you a Suxi and the Banshee shot. I think let me just show you one of these. I think you really this you'll dig. Nah, I don't like that one. Hold on.
Yeah, that's hey, thanks for showing me these, man. I mean,
really cool. Man, check this out. This is our friend Greg Smith. Stuff like this.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
And it's black and white. We talk a lot about the era that we come from, and black and white speaks to me. I love black and white stuff.
Yeah, what a great shot, man.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, and I'm looking to put a book together eventually.
I hope you do, man. That's if you need an editor.
I'll send you some of them.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So, let me see. Let's wrap it up pretty soon. Let me just take another question or two. What about this? Will the tour with Black Flag, TSOL, and the Dickies be rescheduled?
Between you and me, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, the last tour I went on kind of beat my ass. It really kicked it. Because what a lot of people don't realize is TSOL, we're like a working class band. We're playing smaller bar shows and we don't have a crew. We go just ourselves and a t-shirt guy. And I do all the driving. And so at 58 years old, it's kind of fucking taxing, man, playing every day. Sometimes we'll do 28 shows in a row, just boom, 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 with no sleep and taxiing, and you're playing in little bars every night. So, after all this shit getting shut down, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen.
I think the last time I saw you play was when you played with the Damned in New York.
Okay, yeah, Matt,
Irving.
Yeah,
Irving. Yeah. Yep. So, okay. Well, look, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show. That was fantastic.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. It's been a great time. Everybody, thanks for listening. And
let me bring on a couple of my guys. We kind of do that ceremoniously at the end. Rap Bones and Steven. Can you hear me, Steven?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Where are you? Where are you on the train?
I'm on the train.
That's bad,
hard, right? Isn't that hard?
Yeah.
Right. So, Rap Bones, anything for Jack?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I wasn't going to do toys today. I was going to do books.
Oh.
I got shot down, but now that Jack's been talking so much about books, I want to go and show a couple of the books that I'm reading right now. I'm reading this great crime novel.
Oh, nice.
From the guy who wrote The Wire. And it's really, a lot of things are going on right now that are in that book. I'm reading, because I'm always trying to, enlighten myself and follow a high path. I study all different forms, and I like to find out a little. I'm reading this right now because I like to see, common stories of, extraordinary people, correct?
Yeah.
And then this I'm reading not for religious reasons, really, but just that someone wrote about getting scabs and picking them off and staying loyal. It's just like a real great book to suffer.
Hey, I have that.
And you did mention Queen, and I'm reading this to my kid at night. He's going to be 8. So I'm trying to turn him on to, like you said, the things we grew up on. And then I really enjoy my friend's book. Roger Moret's book is, the tales aren't too graphic where it's like gloating. I'm the same way. We've lived a dark period in our lives where I'm back to who I was before I met that demon that took me down for so many years. So now I'm Rap Bones. It's a good feeling to have that strength. So I'm glad you went into all the heavy metal stuff. Because I was saying, before we started listening to the punk, a lot of us, and you guys out there, this is it. And I collect out of the flea markets.
Yeah.
So I bought this for like $1, and those are real photos of Motley Crue doing Shout at the Devil era. So it's about how in such a short amount of time, because we were so young, that we went from listening to that. I think I bought rap music for rap people, and that's I ever heard Bad Brains the first time I ever heard TSOL, and I'm glad that Drew just reminded me that I was all like, oh, that's a bucket list band. I wish I could have seen them. I was at that damn show. The Damn played for like 3 hours that night. It was a great show. It was nuts at Open Plaza, and you guys opened. So I'm glad I got to see you. Drew, don't cut me off.
Well, get popping, bro.
Popping right now. I want to thank Jack Grisham for. I'm going to tell this story about the first time I ever seen Suburbia. Like you said, it was a local thing. It was our group of friends that were like the weird misfits. We all found punk and banded together. When we saw Suburbia, my friends, the 2 friends I saw where they both passed away, rest in peace, Psycho Sam, rest in peace, Stephanie. But we saw the Suburbia film in her house. We shaved mohawks in their heads that day. Like that was it. We knew. And we left out of her house, and there was a pizza truck going by that looked like an ice cream truck. And I went in the street with my fresh mohawk that we just gelled up. And I went in the back door of the ice cream truck, and I got the pizza, and I had it in my hand. And I stood like this in the middle of the street, and the truck drove away, and I had the pizza. So we like looted, right away that day. And those were just great times,
Fantastic.
Yeah, brought up a lot of the memories here to talk and tell about the old days when we were freaks.
That book, the book, I have that Book of Job. I have that sitting on the shelf right here. I've studied that book. I tore that apart. But anyway, so it was interesting to see you bring that up. And Mark Twain, I was reading Mark Twain to somebody the other day, Huckleberry Finn, and it's Gwyn Guan Do Day would say, it's like so gnarly. It's excellent. Love it.
Hey, Jack, thanks again, man. Thanks for being a part of the show. All the best to you and your family. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Take care, man.
Jack.
Excellent, dude.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was awesome, man. That was fantastic.
Bro, I had more.
Listen, bro. Don't come on the end of the show and hijack the show, bro. That's not going to work. What else? I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody that came on. Chris Corkum, it was nice to see you. Jamie from SSD Control. Great show. Good interview. Yes, it was fantastic. Just a reminder that next show on what day is it? Today's Wednesday, right? Next up is the boxing show. So we're stoked on that. We'll see you on Friday for the boxing show with Craig Satari, Sean Sullivan, Don Foos, and Arnie Stone. Other than that, let me think what else. Be careful, Rat Bones, in the city.
I want you to know, guys, I'm picking up something very special for the boxing show. I've got 3 really cool things for the boxing show.
Good. We're looking forward to it. Once again, this was the New York Hardcore Chronicles, sponsored by Fryette Amplification, New York Hardcore Comics, and Organic Grill. Right? How about that? And Organic Grill. So we're psyched on that. Thank you, everybody around the world. Rat Bones, we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you on Friday.
Later, y'all.
Steven, get home safe.
How was the picture of the day?
Picture of the day was good. I mean, it sucks when it goes down like that, but we marched on. I
couldn't tell if you heard me. I couldn't see you. So.
Yeah, listen. At this point, as soon as we start with hiccups, man, we just have to crush on, But it was good. It was a perfect picture of the day, for Jack Grisham.
There we go.
So, all right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, everybody. Like I said, this is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. It was a great show, and we'll see you Friday for the boxing show. Be careful out there. It's a crazy world. Do good things, and good things will come to you.